All right. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Happy Tuesday to everybody. Looks like we are all set and good to go. All right. so, as always, let's go ahead and jump right in. So, this is Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared. It is October 12th, 2021. Let's take a look at yesterday, talk about a little bit of nuance inside of our S&Ps. So yesterday we saw pretty interesting price action in the market. As always, we're kind of starting from high to low, and we're just acknowledging the fact that we are still in a relatively powerful daily downtrend. We have not necessarily made a new swing high, nor set a convincing swing low that has been established with strong support. Um, we've seen a few opportunities in both directions over the past couple of weeks. Using some different analysis tools like volume profile to see when the market gets a bit overextended, essentially moving away from often volume point of controls, areas of the market that are considered fair value. And usually, what you can do as a trader, short term or even thinking more of a target for long term plays, is sort of anticipate the move of the market back to these zones as they are fair transactional areas of price that the market likes to return to and ultimately sort of chop nearby. So, throughout this volatility in the SPY, it's worth noting that on the daily, we had a few of these opportunities sort of transpire in both directions. First and foremost, as we were starting to get into this lower range that we formed last week, we noted that as we went into shorter time frames on the SPY and simply pulled up our volume profile study, that the market was starting to form value around 435. We noted 435 as a very important level, both on shorter 10 to 30 day time frames, along with the fact that if you're just looking across larger data sets, the market has placed large volume shelves in this area over time. So as the market came into this lower range, it became, at least from a technical sense, more of a probabilistic advantage to a bull to anticipate a move back to this zone. And that's sort of that intraday play where you can find some trend day opportunity if the market continues to rally into this area. Likewise, when you get to the upper ranges, the same idea can be taken into effect. And once again, providing some downside targets whenever you have good risk to reward in a technical setup. We certainly saw that yesterday with the fact that the market had a fairly decent rally in the early session. We actually saw the potential for a long setup and essentially getting us out of a sort of downtrend resistance zone inside of our daily. But it was worth noting that the volume and also the fact that the market was not necessarily pulling back throughout this rally. It essentially became sort of an unsustainable move to the upside. The lack of high money participation or just large firm participation, big money participation, the lack of that involvement provided the room for bears to once again take control near the highs and force the market back down, not only breaking the low of the morning, but settling approximately at that 435. So worth mentioning that this market is doing something that many traders might find a little frustrating or ultimately a little challenging to interpret. And that's simply the idea of what sort of range are we trying to play and what tends to be the midpoint of that range. Oftentimes, traders will look at ranges and sort of understand that if you measure from low to high, the midpoint can become a more conservative target for taking longs or shorts. But usually, with how ranges form in marketplaces, it's not necessarily sort of the average of the high to low. divided by 2. Instead, it's more that fair value zone. Where is the market showing you that participants are willing to transact their shares and ultimately a larger balance zone is forming? That often provides more of a gravity point. And as you move away from this area, you need strong conviction in order to remain removed from this area. Otherwise, forces can draw the market back. So, something to keep in mind in the short term as we sort of oscillate between these low and high points, the market really hasn't done anything of note from a directional sense. If you look over the past 30 days, this price level is something that we've been at back in September. So the market really hasn't done too much for approximately a month if you're measuring from this sort of mid-September price point. But what's more important is the opportunity from a trading perspective of when is your highest advantage and probability to take along, with the understanding that if it fails, it is a less probable scenario to the downside, with the understanding that if we start to breach lows, and then of course to the upside to basically fade those highs back to value. So oftentimes traders like to handicap markets with the idea that, are we directionally biased? And my argument here is that in the short term, given where we've located and given where this market continues to return to, the bias is sort of 50-50. As you get to value, things don't necessarily become bull or bear. They become more of movements away from value and often return back to those value zones when the situation calls for it. Now, for example, this has been something that has sort of riddled the small cap market for a long period of time, as traders can become frustrated not seeing that same follow through as they saw prior, basically sort of a recency bias in the market, thinking that because it was bullish before, it has to continue to be bullish outside of the range. That's not necessarily the case. Oftentimes, you're just trying to position yourself in a probabilistic zone in order to either capture a conservative move to value or even playing for an extension of the range. So keep all that in mind as we move forward. The market is certainly volatile throughout intraday sessions, but it doesn't necessarily have to be handicapped by bull or bear sort of bias. The idea simply being that you can find those moments in time to revert back to the mean value or the most fair value, and then wait for the market to give you better signals if it is going to move away. So some clues yesterday that may have kept you on the right side of the afternoon trade is involved with our normal sector analysis. So obviously the Qs had a similar price action to the SPY. And once again, noting that on something as short as the 5-minute time frame, we really didn't see any sort of consolidation. The market continued to make higher highs and higher lows, and it became more of an unsustainable uptrend. With the understanding that, of course, the first pullback, as we started to breach into this high range, could have been captured by bulls. But as the market started to fail and ultimately roll over, the probability of that trend being sustained and the unsustainability of its being set up led to that larger downside and the gravitational pull of VPOC. Same idea with the Qs as well. We're marking approximately 360 as VPOC. Volume profile argues a bit higher in price, but we've certainly seen this market return to approximately that 360 print. And more specifically, if you look at just something like the NQ futures, it's worth noting that over the past couple of sessions, we've been moving away from a psychological price level, 15,000. This often for futures traders in the NASDAQ has been sort of a sticking point. And it's worth noting that if I pull the data back, 15,000 is a much larger time frame VPOC. So as this market is sort of our culprit for a lot of the weakness in general, sort of the tech weakness that's conflicting the SPY, um, it is worth noting that we are pulling away from this all important 15,000 level. And if the market does continue to have selling pressure in the form of rising interest rates or just some of the other sort of negative catalysts that we're starting to see, then I would expect this move to be sort of a departure from this zone. Once again, just pulling back to farther time frames and noting that there is a large pocket risk in the NASDAQ if we are ever to lose this low. The idea here, of course, is there's not a lot of previous transactional value, and a move through this pocket zone can be quite dangerous for the marketplace as a whole. Basically, there's no notional support in the form of shelves of value, and a fall through this area can be quite aggressive, quite fast, moving, and often capitulation-like in nature. So, some other clues yesterday, some of our strong sectors had morning sessions that were looking fairly constructive to the long side. If you look at something like financials, we were actually coming off of a relative high inside of our daily. This should be our all-time high around 39. We were starting to recover off of this price level, seeing new all-time highs being printed. And then, of course, in that afternoon session, this market actually began rolling back over and actually lost a previous low of day. That, of course, in conflict with the tech sector, which, just like the NASDAQ, had sort of that unsustainable uptrend in the morning, saw some consolidation, and then started to fall apart, leading to what market profile analysts call a rounded reversal in the marketplace. Similarly, healthcare, one of our larger market cap sectors, not necessarily performing well in the daily context. We're actually seeing one of the larger sell-offs in this particular sector, but coming into a possible area of support, the range support back in time, and then just keeping the volume profile perspective, we are coming back to sort of that fair transactional zone, looking for the market to maybe hold here or even see sort of an oversold bounce. But short term, that marketplace as well, seeing that same rollover. So in the context of yesterday's sell-off, as the marketplace was starting to pull back, a lot of sectors were confirming that selling pressure. And essentially, there was no one taking a lead stance and holding any of those morning gains. No matter where you look, whether it be industrials, consumer discretionaries, and the list goes on. Even our strong sector, which isn't necessarily a large market cap participant, saw some pullback pressure in the context of its larger, very powerful, impulsive daily uptrend. Of course, this is coming into relative highs, so a pullback is expected. And as we just pull up our normal moving averages, we see how far we've gone without a significant move back to retest sort of our trending moving averages. For those unfamiliar, I often like to pull up exponentials when the move is this aggressive, and just kind of noting that these trends are nice in the short term, but they are often unsustainable. So just be looking for those cautionary signals when this may be coming to a short-term pullback. So shifting gears slightly, as we often are looking at bonds and the fact that the bond market was closed yesterday, it's worth noting that if we pull up our lovely TNX, we're not going to see, of course, any data prints from yesterday's session. It will be worthwhile once this marketplace opens to see where they are printing the 10-year Treasury index rate. And specifically, if we look at something like /ZN, which is our 10-year Treasury note futures product, it's worth noting that we are at some relative lows. Basically, we've done a full 100% retracement from this low point back in early April. Now, what's so interesting about this is a lot of the selling pressure that we've seen in the NASDAQ rivals and even mimics some of the selling pressure we saw back in March earlier this year. And there are some similar aspects of that selling in relation to the bond markets. We saw very strong impulsive moves of interest rates to the upside, and that selling pressure in tech didn't really subside until the interest rates sort of capitulated to the top side, found some relative highs, along with just seeing new sectors started to take the lead and stabilize the overall market. You'll note that the TNX sort of topped at the end of March, but as early as March 25th is, I believe, the date that the NASDAQ started to bottom. Approximately in this time frame. We were looking at essentially this bull flag here. And once that resolved to the upside, we saw that strong momentum push as interest rates topped in the 10-year. So thinking about these scenarios and how this market pulled to the channel support, reverted back to moving average resistance, and then sort of spent about a week or two building up some energy, we could form that same thesis in the short term with our NASDAQ today. As we are in that same relative support zone, this was a short-term play if you joined us last week for a long on the NASDAQ. And now, of course, if you're looking short in the NASDAQ, the idea is that the interest rates need to likely continue down and basically break this low. That could cause the type of fear and additional selling pressure that can lead to more losses of lows and basically keep the NASDAQ in a downtrend. As we pull up just a longer time frame, we can see how relevant this low is in respective to the trading activity of this past year. And of course, if we are to lose this, we'll simply have to look lower down for additional support areas. That would, of course, be a very significant move in the 10-year notes, along with the fact that we have just shorter term highs back in time that might offer plays in regards to maybe intraday or swing opportunities. So as this marketplace is coming into this critical level, once again, this is the time to be focused and see what's going to happen next. Are we going to breach this low and see some significant bearish momentum with the daily closure below this level? Or is this going to hold in the short term, leading to a more significant bounce, basically a back test of where we've come from as the selling really started back on this candle here? You can see the loss of this area and this shelf of support, and then the impulsive move through the support. So keep all this in mind. As short-term traders, we kind of need to know these forces, and ultimately if they set up in our favor, we may not want to fight them in that short-term perspective, basically taking advantage of that maybe upside volatility until they get back to relative areas of resistance. In this case, the 12 MA acted as a decent short opportunity for the 10-year. We may want to let this return to this zone and let that set up for the final loss of the support. Otherwise, we could see activity like this and then a reversion back to test higher price levels. So just keep all that in mind. A lot of people sort of gravitate towards the idea that, yes, interest rates are rising, so why would I be bullish tech? And in the short term, I tend to agree. But these inflection points can offer either better price opportunities to the short side once they revert back in the favor of the bears. So for example, if this actually does move higher, the NASDAQ could see a recovery phase, basically a return to a higher resistance zone. And that could set up for a much larger and more profitable short if this does start to continue to sell back to the lows. So something to always kind of keep in mind if you're using these correlations, know where they exist, know where major inflections are in these correlations, and just kind of observe the price action, observe the volume, make sure you're still on the right side of the trade. And if it's starting to go against you in that correlative nature, maybe consider sizing down, hedging, or even exiting the position and waiting for a better signal. That's sort of the advantage of us as retail traders. We can always adjust as needed. So, last but not least, get some water here. Last week, I brought up briefly this ETF here, which is the HYG. Essentially, I'd probably need a good 15 minutes to describe some of the aspects of how this ETF and the perspective of it can affect the equities market as a whole. But in the short term, or in the time that we have, it's worth mentioning that this ETF can often be used as another sort of risk factor for the market. Oftentimes, whenever this ETF is stable, and ultimately some of this performance of high yield junk bonds inside of the US equities market, when this is holding, then the market's perception of risk is relatively positive. Essentially, they're not seeing a lot of default risk in some of these companies, along with the fact that if interest rates are either stable or decreasing, junk bonds can actually provide sort of elevated yield, and the market will gravitate towards this elevated yield as they do not see as much risk in those bonds as opposed to something like treasury notes or treasury bonds. Now, what we've seen in the specifics of the Evergrande company in China is a departure from some of these high yield bonds. And specifically, if we look at something like KY, make sure I get the name right, KHYB, I'll bring up a long time frame here. This is sort of that correlative or the similar ETF in regards to some of the Asia Pacific high yield bonds. Now, this perspective here is one of short-term concern because not only has this sort of sold off quite heavily, but we're seeing a lot of discussion right now about the long-term effects and sort of the perpetual degradation of what's happening with this one company and how it can affect both other companies in China, whether it be other real estate developers or the banks that are taking on some of this default risk, along with how that will affect US companies, specifically the same banks who are actually exposed to some of the offshore bond payments. So the perception of risk here and the fact that we are seeing the volatile nature of the market and the market's response to this economic crisis that's occurring can be seen in some ways through these ETFs. And what I'd like to consider as another sort of risk factor is we know that interest rates are in the short and medium term hurting large growth names, tech, speculative companies, anything with basically that lending nature to prop up or to accelerate their growth multiples. Even something as simple as share buybacks are often not going to be seen as heavily in a high interest rate environment, which slows growth overall. We know that the dollar is also continuing to remain elevated. Not really worth mentioning. We haven't moved much since yesterday, but we're still in this elevated posture. And now finally, a third risk factor here is the fact that the marketplace has been moving aggressively away from these riskier based assets. Some people often look at either HYG or the junk ETF. Both of these are very similar in nature, albeit they do have different holdings. They're often considered rivals in this space. And if you look at the fundamentals here on this ETF, you can see what sort of holdings this ETF carries. You want to be thinking companies that aren't necessarily the most profitable in the world and have taken on large amounts of debt in order to remain liquid and ultimately avoid potential bankruptcy with the amount of debt they carry. These are going to be companies like some of our airlines, the likes of some of these entertainment companies, the ones that take on large sort of debt obligations whenever building new facilities or facilitating improvements to existing. Some of our cruise companies, which incurred large amounts of debt whenever they were basically shorelined and could not perform throughout COVID. And the list goes on here, of course. Even the likes of something like Ford, one of our legacy American companies, does hold a large amount of debt inside of these ETFs. So as a risk factor, and when we're looking for directional bias in the market, one thing that you can think about is the market probably will not put a significant bottom in until one, two, or all three of these risk factors start to subside. Essentially, if interest rates continue to rise, our big market cap tech names are still in trouble. They're still going to see selling pressure, and they're not going to be the leaders moving forward. We've certainly seen that with Facebook as one of our weakest names, the likes of our strongest names starting to basically break their overall trend. We're hoping that those can either stabilize or just support some of the performance. Microsoft, another example. And then something like Apple, when you look at just the directional bias of Apple and where it comes from on large pullbacks, we may be starting to bottom here, but it is not necessarily where we bottomed in the past. It would be a new sort of development if we were to form a significant low here and basically turn the ship. So those perspectives of interest rates hurting tech, dollar hurting commodities, and basically performing negative pressure in the equities market, and now the likes of corporate debt starting to be sold. Looking for lows in these areas, or basically inflection points in these areas, may be what's needed for the market to essentially find that bottom. Until then, playing those high to low scenarios and taking advantage of the short term, while not necessarily trying to handicap yourself as a trader, thinking that every single low that's printed is going to be the low moving forward. We are inherently more versatile and more adaptive than large money firms as retail traders. So let's take that to our advantage and play it to our advantage inside of this market. So with that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Trade safe, and we'll talk more tomorrow. Stay tuned for pre-market prep.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market Prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. I hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today? Can I hear you, buddy? Make sure it's not me.
That's
There
me.
you go. Excellent.
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, man. Cannot complain. Cannot
Good.
complain.
Good morning.
Guys, let's take a look at what we had yesterday on our list, starting with PTG. I only have four. I didn't have anything too crazy on here. But PTG, again, just we were concerned about this. No, we talked about it. A big part of the move was done very early on. Let me get my Epic pen here this morning. Here we go. Should come up right up. But while that's coming up, guys, again, big part of the move was done in the pre-market. We went from $18 up to
Just chop
about
after that.
30, and then it was just messy. We knew this thing was probably not going to be fun, and it was just complete chop, guys. Nothing really good came out of that one. Here's Baba. Baba, on the other hand, was a much better trade towards the downside. It gapped up, so I personally thought not having too strong of a bias. I thought this thing was going to be strong, but it was quite the opposite. Nice sell-off right before the market opened with a nice continuation. Does try to get above this area here. Moving averages, we have this 170, is not able to, and then just look at this drop once again towards the low of the day and just continue. It never really had a chance to get up to the VWAP, just continue on selling down. So that was Baba yesterday. Here's LUV also was very nice opening range breakup on the 5 minute. You can see the beautiful breakout here, plus an engulfing pattern. Just a whole lot going on there, and you get a nice continuation. A couple of bull flags here, and just look at the pop, guys, going from 51.80ish, almost 51.93 here, all the way up to 53.30. So that's a good one. No opportunity for a double top here, guys. Just starts dropping. So if you were looking for a mountain pass, you did not get one here. Starts dropping right to the VWAP and then all the way back down to where it opened up for the day. So again, nice range there on LUV yesterday. And then the last one on our list was Apple. And so not bad, guys. Out of four, three were actually really good, and Apple was just amazing. You had this great strength on Apple, took off at the market open, gave you a beautiful open range break up on the 5 minute. Look at this pullback, that is amazing, right to the VWAP, and then takes off from there, breaks the high, the range at that time, and just look at this beautiful continuation you are getting there. A little bit of an ABCD bull flag pattern forming here for the next leg up. So Apple was just amazing yesterday. We knew it was going to be in play. It had amazing volume, had a great pre-market activity. I mean, it had everything going for it. So on a day where we had pretty much a pretty I don't want to say crappy, but actually it was crappy. Our gap was list.
The
There
list
was
that we had together, it was not great. No.
Yeah, it was not great at all. And again, we found four there, or at least three that traded very decent. So that's what we had on the list yesterday. Norm, overall data for our market this morning.
Earnings season tomorrow, buddy.
Yes,
Banks will
yes,
start
yes.
JPM and all that'll start tomorrow. So should be interesting. I didn't see if there's anybody this evening. I mean, I don't care. Obviously, I can't. I'm not going to trade future earnings. But let me see. I'm just curious. No, I don't see anything interesting tonight. So earnings season starts tomorrow. Essentially, hopefully that pulls us out of these gappers list doldrums we've been in. We'll see. Small business index was at 6 a.m. Job openings 10 a.m. 11 a.m. Median expected 3-year inflation rate should be an interesting number to see come out. So yeah, just get through the day, and then maybe we'll get some excitement again.
Yeah. Looking forward to some good stuff popping up on our gappers list this following this week after tomorrow. All right, so what we have now. Let's remove what's on our list right over here, guys. Control A, then we'll Control X this out, clear that out, and then on our gappers list this morning, leading the way to somewhat low flow NTRB. Starting to get going here. Well, they have 3.3 million shares traded right now. Pre-market action looks very, very good. Daily's horrible. Daily's actually very, very bad. I mean, wow, look at this. We haven't seen the daily this bad in some time. This has got to be top five worst daily stocks we have seen on this show. Uh, Definitely up there. But this pre-market action looks very good this morning, so that's decent. Any news, guys? Is this a SPAC or something? I
No,
mean,
no, no, no. So this is a biotech that's got, and I just read the headline, and
okay.
it's I'm just going to read it to you. NutraBrand Inc. signs exclusive manufacturing agreement for DioCheck visual COVID-19 antibody indicator patch. So I don't know what that looks like, but all I can picture is like a sticker on your forehead that you wear around, and you go somewhere, and the hostess at Bennigan's can see that it's green, and therefore you have COVID antibodies. I don't know. I'm curious. So anyway, I'm curious what that's going to be like. But anyway, that's the headline.
That should be fun, guys. Low flow sitting at 3.6 this morning. I am going to put this on here. NTRB again, definitely in play this morning. Daily's brutal. I mean, it's just nothing you can look at there. But now we're
David from Connecticut, longtime member, friend as well. Met him and his wife many times. Had drinks with them at meetups all over the place.
Yeah.
U.S. and Canada, and I will say he has the perfect one. It should either be a smiley face or a sad face. I like that.
Nice and simple.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, NTBR definitely in play. We'll keep it on here, guys. Right now, amazing volume. Looks like it wants to break the high of 1065 here as it's pushing up towards that pre-market high at the moment. INBX, another one that's no pre-market action, not great here. Dailies, I don't know what's going on. This one only 162,000, and with that type of volume, we have moved in the pre-market from 28 to 35. This is a no, guys. You be very, very careful. Can you imagine? I mean, just think about the volume you're getting here, how you're moving. I mean, this here, 20,000 shares, 20,000 shares on this candle here. And we move from 34 almost, or even less, 33.80, let's say, to $36 on a 20,000 a share move, right? I mean, that's literally you, Norm, putting an order. And then if you have a stop here, you can't stop. It's just going to go right through it, and you're down of $5 or whatever the case may be. Yeah, it's no good there, guys. I'm not touching that. That is very, very scary. FREY also not looking great. All right, let's move on down. SLI, we've seen this before in our gappers list, got coming up and down. Doesn't look good neither here, guys. It is sitting on the American Stock Exchange. Just no volume. All right, let's move on. Norman's favorite stock, BBig, this morning. They are here. Up 4.5, 602,000. Again, guys, I just think comes up in our gappers list, and we never seen anything good on it. I mean, at least not today. I don't see anything great on it. I don't know if there's any news. We're trying to find a base here. Whatever it is, it's just not working out. Fuel cell this morning. This one, I don't think it's really in play. 154,000. Again, volume is extremely light. Just gapping up 2%. Had a somewhat of a decent day yesterday, it looks like. If I zoom out here, it had a nice open yesterday. So maybe a continuation, maybe. Wow, we haven't added nothing to our main or secondary list. We'll add fuel cell to our secondary list here. SDC this morning, they are, no, not good. MGM, all right, let's see, do we have something here? MGM, no, they're daily probably interesting, right? Breaking out of this 44.50-ish. Do they have any news, MGM, or no? Maybe, but the volume is very light because right now their daily does look fairly interesting. I don't want to say it's in play unless there's any news on it. I'm seeing upgrades.
Sorry,
in the chat.
I'm talking.
You're on mute. Oh man.
Yeah, I was on mute. Sorry, I was typing a message to somebody and I muted my mic, and I'm telling you all about it to know.
And I just keep talking.
They got a massive upgrade yesterday out of Credit Suisse. Neutral to overperform, $33 to $68 price target. So a hell of an upgrade on price target there. That's what's getting them going.
I'm going to move them up based on that news because MGM, again, sitting on the New York Stock Exchange, you might not see a crazy pre-market action. I do like this daily here for a possible breakout. If they have that news, hopefully that can create something. Guys, not a whole lot in our gapping up list this morning. Let's see what's gapping down. CVAC, we got a huge drop here. Well, not huge, but 15% drop here, 277,000. The stock looks very choppy, very light on volume for the most part. This morning could be different, right? What's the float on this? 52 million. Oh, we'll add it on here. It looks foreign though. Is it foreign?
Yes, it's German.
It is? Okay. All right. So
Scheiße.
I'm not sure about this. I'm going to take that off. Here's Any right now is down 5.8, 722,000. They got a decent pre-market activity. We do have shares for short. We had this on our list before. We actually traded in the past. Actually did very well towards the upside. This morning getting slammed a little bit here. Could be interesting. Yeah, it is in play. It does have volume. It is down quite a bit. It's going to come down. Are we going to get some clean trading on this after the bell? Right now, pre-market action, we are seeing some good activity so far on it, and we do have shares for short. There's been situation in this stock where we do not have shares for short. Actually, let's based on that, let's see how much. Oh yeah, see, this is why. You barely have anything, guys. 25,000 right now with Interactive Brokers. That might not be there by the time the bell rings, or even by the time this pre-market show is over. So we'll have to see. DATS again, another one that
You had
doesn't trade. Yeah,
you had shares for short on that.
yeah. I'm
Oh
showing.
yeah, no, I was
Yeah,
looking.
like
Yeah, I did. Okay, I was looking at
like
something else.
25, right? But it's not much.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
that ain't gonna be there.
yeah,
I
that's not
wouldn't
gonna be
count
there.
on that.
Yep. So that's on IB, guys. If you have another broker, you might have more or less. Who knows? But definitely, there's a lack of shorts inventory there. All right, guys. That is what we have. We came up with only two: MGM, Annie, and a couple of possibles here. CVAC is a foreign stock. I'm not a fan of this one. So again, we'll see where we go. Norm, anything you like this morning?
No, not in particular. Just throw it to the room. I
Yeah.
know we'll get some good ones out of that.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that, guys. Let's start with what we have here. A couple of you guys throwing out OCGN. Joms, if I'm saying that correctly, and Jason here, OCGN. Let's take a look there. OCGN this morning. Yeah, they are up 10%, 7 million shares traded.
It's not looking particularly strong to me at this point, and I don't have it for
Hmm.
short, so that's why I didn't bring it up.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I
maybe
mean,
that changes. I'm not a
mhm.
huge fan of this one
Me,
anyway,
me, me
but
neither. No, wow. I'm not a fan of it neither. Again, we've seen amazing trades here in the community for on this ticker. I have not really traded this one like that. But yeah, it's not looking too strong, guys, because we're losing here some ground. We are below the V up now, below the moving averages. So we gapped up pretty nice, up to 940. We lost $1 already almost here. So not sure what the deal is. We'll put it on here because I know. It is in play. There's no doubt about it. Up 10%, 7 million. So it is in play this morning. We'll do some levels for that. All right, heading down, guys. We got the SPY. We have CGN by Jonathan. CGN. Let's see what we got going on here. Did you mean OCGN? That's probably what you meant, right, Jonathan?
yeah.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, that's what you meant. I see
think
you
so.
correcting it there. All right, yeah, we'll add it on. It's in play, guys. Not a big fan of it, but it is in play. American Airlines, no, volume is extremely light. It's up 1%. Again, not really in play, guys, and it's okay. You saw yesterday we had only 4 stocks, and out of those 4, 3 did really well. And that's all you needed to watch to get a good opportunity. Here's Facebook. I like Facebook this morning, losing some ground. This is good. Facebook will add this one on here. Down 1% right now, losing this area of support at 325. Lost the most recent area, the lowest area, most recent here, around 322 or something like that. 323. Yeah, Facebook looks good, guys. I like what I'm seeing there.
Hopefully
Apple,
it goes
yeah.
to zero.
Yeah, right. Apple is we're pushing a little bit of volume here, 771 daily. Daily doesn't look great at all. But I gotta tell you, it's been trading well within the intraday, even though it has a bad daily here. We've seen some good opportunities like we saw yesterday. So I'm gonna add Apple here as well, guys. I think it's a good one to keep an eye on. And let's head on down. What else we have, guys? Facebook, American Airlines, PRR, RRD. RRD, RRD. No. I mean, we got volume here. Again, I just something about this price action here doesn't look fun at all. Let's look at the 1 minute. Maybe we can see something better. Yeah, it looks very choppy. Again, that could change at the market open. But the way I look at it is, man, you're trading 1.7 already, and this is how you decide to do that. Usually that doesn't turn out pretty good, right? And we saw it yesterday with that other, what's that stock that was horrible? We just talked, I forgot it quickly already. The one that gapped up almost, what was it, from 17 to like 35. It was same thing there. Yeah, thank you, Baja. PGTX. We saw the same thing here, right?
Couple of issues I have with RRD. It's a very old company. Usually that's not a great. Well, iterations of it, but it's a rumored buyout, so
Mm.
maybe it sticks and stays one spot. The other thing is that I think on average it gets 600,000 shares traded a day, so it's got volume
Yeah.
today compared to that, but
Yeah, yeah,
Is that going to
it's
continue?
probably not going to be a good trade. Look at another example here we saw yesterday, PTGX, right? You see how these candles are forming, and they had great volume here. I forgot the actual number. It was amazing volume. Look how these candles are forming, right? When you look at this one here, what was it? We're just looking at Dude, I lost my spot here. I was just talking about it. Lost my spot within the mix. RRD. There we go. RRD. When you look at this one, it looks very, very similar the way the candles are forming on RRD. So I don't like that. It's very spotty, guys. No, it's better than that. Right over here. Yeah. So I don't like the way it's forming here. Again, I'm just going to be careful with it. What's the float on this, by the way? RRD. Is a large float, yeah. So I'm gonna skip on it, guys. Again, you could watch it if you have space for it, but I'm gonna stay away from that one. All right, let's continue here. Netflix this morning. Netflix, we are not really in play right now. Their daily looks interesting. So if you have space, you want to watch this one, yes, or just wait for it to hit the scanners. That's what I would do on this one. But yeah, the daily does look interesting, but it's not really in play outside of that. Apple, we do have on deck, guys. Had an amazing day yesterday, intraday. We'll see where that goes. Neo volume is extremely light. We need Neo at like 500,000 to a million by now at 8:50 in the morning. We're not seeing that, so I don't think it's really in play at the moment. That could change the market open, but for the most part, look at the last couple of days. We haven't got much out of Neo here. SoFi. SoFi. Nope, that's not SoFi. Here's SoFi. Decent day yesterday, going from 16 to about 19. So you had a nice little pop here. Not a great pre-market action, so you can't really go by this on a SoFi. Possible continuation. You do have a little bit of volume here. I personally do not like the way this stock moves, guys. Again, it's just my preference. This one is not one that I trade very well. We'll put it as a secondary for now. Let's put it as secondary. We'll come back to that one. Nike. Is Nike in play? Do they have any news? That's the only time they really are worth watching. I don't see nothing going on right now. They had a nice drop yesterday, but again, you could have watched other stuff that traded a little bit better than this yesterday. So Roku has a good daily. Roku, it does have a decent daily here for a potential breakdown, or if this is going to get the volume. But right now, it's just no volume really. So really light on volume, guys. Literally 5,000 shares traded. So not really in play. PLTR, no. PLTR is not doing anything right now. So we'll skip on that one. Let's take a look at Plug. What do we have on Plug here? Plug's daily is nice. Plug has a real nice daily, guys. Has been very strong. Might be getting a little bit extended now as we had a couple of green days in here, but we're gapping up 1.3. Volume is a little bit lighter than what we like to see, but I gotta say the daily's nice. We're slamming up against this 28.34, maybe looking to break out. Let's add it on here. Let's take a look at it a little bit later. I do like the last couple of days on here are been trading very, very nice here. It has a really good daily actually. Fuel cell we do have. Did we add that one already? I thought we did. Yeah, we have it here as a secondary as well. PGTX we looked at. Okay. American Airlines we have. SoFi we looked at. Okay. No, I'm saying CVAC. Yeah, I took that one off. It's the new scary on that one is not great. Let's take a look at Tesla. We'll do a few more, then we'll go over to YouTube, see what's going on there. Tesla has a beautiful daily, guys. A possible breakout. Not sure if today's the day, but it has a very, very nice daily. Had a great open yesterday, gave you a nice little pop there. Didn't do much after that. So maybe today a possible breakout. You just need the volume on this one. Very possible to put an alert if it's going to break out of this some of these highs here and get going. That would be nice. GM and Ford both looking to be setting up a daily bull flag. Let's take a look here. GM, yeah. Again, just not really in play right now. Daily's good on it, and Ford, yeah, looking very similar. So you got a couple of stocks that have this bull flag here, but yeah, they're not really in play right now. So, okay, let's stop here, guys. Delta Airlines. I don't think that the airlines are in play, right? No, they're not in play this morning. Okay, let's go over to YouTube, see what you guys have this morning. Netflix, we looked at, and I thought we added Netflix. Didn't we add it? Netflix, we looked at, but again, another one with possible bull flag here, looking very good as well. But again, just no activity, guys. We have to wait for these to hit our scanners. Not much going on right now. AMC. Let's take a look there. AMC. No, AMC hasn't been in play in some time. At least I haven't seen anything good out of it. Volume has definitely come down a little bit on it for this stock, right? It's still trading like 36 million per day. But you're not doing the 127. You're not doing the 107 million shares per day there. So Harry, thank you so much for the donation, man. Appreciate you very much. Good morning. Let's get this month going for Breast Cancer Month. Thanks again, fellas, for much to love. So thank you, Harry, for the continued support. Appreciate you very much, my friend. All right, ATER. Yeah, so I don't think AMC is in play. We gotta wait for the squeeze. So, for Wall Street bets to start doing their thing and their squeeze here. I don't see that right now. So not really in play. ATER at the moment, yeah, not in play, guys. Low volume, not really doing much at the moment. And it's okay, guys. We don't have to go crazy here. Again, remember, we can have four stocks, and if three of them are good like we had yesterday, we can have a very good day. So here's Love again. That's just Love was actually, Love was good yesterday. We had this on our list. Love was very nice yesterday. It's a nice range there. Continuation today, I'm not sure you're gonna get that.
My concern is the catalyst that's with that. It's kind of
it's confusing.
Harry, $10. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's confusing. The catalyst is very confusing on what's happening there. So I'm not sure about that. It was fun yesterday. Maybe a Apostle today if you have the space. But I don't know. Not sure. A few more here. mRNA. Oops. Let's put it up here. mRNA. Let's link this up. We are up 2%. They're trying to find a base. Yeah, mRNA's daily is very interesting, guys. We're getting a base here at 300, and we've been as high as 450, right? So we know this thing has the range to go higher if it wants to. But right now, I'm not seeing anything great on it. But I gotta say, the longer it stays here, right, the more anticipation we're going to get for a possible break up or down. Doesn't have to be up, right? It could be either way, but we just need to kind of be patient. I don't think it's setting up now at the moment. We'll have to see at the market open if we can get some kind of breakouts one way or the other on this one. But the daily does look very interesting on this one. Yeah, I see you guys. More AMC. Yeah, I don't see it, guys. You guys keep throwing it out here, but I don't see what you like on AMC at the moment. It has no volume. We know AMC could do amazing volume in the pre-market unless there's any news you're aware of. I don't see what you guys like on AMC here, guys. So I'm keeping it off my list. I really don't see what's happening here. Besides the daily, maybe some support. Enormous agrees with me. He's laying back. He's saying, why are we talking about AMC? Just kidding, guys. All right, let's hop over to our community announcements. We'll come back and fine tune this list again. It's going to be one of those
Everybody's
days.
bringing up GoTo. I don't know what
is GoTo?
The Chinese garbage stock, dude. It's moving. I'm not a fan of $4 stocks, but it's popping. So
yeah, I don't know if I mean. I don't see. It has two candles here. Almost 150,000.
Yeah, I agree. It would have to continue some volume for me to get too interested in it.
Right. Because
I don't know what the news is.
We need more information. Look, everything here since 4:00 this morning has not been great. They got only two candles, and they're horrible. So as far as daily goes, so let's just for entertainment purposes only, we'll come back to this before we close out the show and see what
everybody's also. Did you look at Fast? Everybody's called out Fast. They had earnings this morning, but it's garbage.
No. Fast, I guess
it's got no volume.
It's got nothing going on. I didn't see nobody call this out, but if you did, there's nothing happening here. Right now,
14. You got no gap, no volume, even though they had earnings, and you've got a nasty spread. So
no, this is not going anywhere good fast. This is not moving anywhere. So, all right, guys, community announcements. We'll come back and chop up this list.
All right, guys, it's Tuesday, so 8:00 tonight. You've got Kyle doing part 2 of his advanced hotkeys for risk management webinar. It'll be 8 p.m. And then next week on Tuesday, you've got special time, 5 p.m. Eamon talking about trend trading. So catch them then. Kreda tomorrow night is 5 p.m. Eastern as well. Special time there because she's in Europe. And then Nada the week after, or next week, Wednesday, 8 p.m. talking about creating successful mindfulness meditation routine. All right. Just a reminder that all the super chat, super sticker revenue, and anything donated on the BBT site this month will be going to the National Breast Cancer Foundation in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month and all our wonderful women of BBT. Thank you, Harry, for that $10 donation a few minutes ago. Much appreciated over on YouTube. If you want to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade with entries and exits posted on Twitter, tagging at Bearable Traders, at Mike_BBT, and at NormBBT. Also use hashtags BBT Family, day trading, and stock market. Put as much commentary as you can to describe the trade. We'll announce the winner each afternoon in the room and on Twitter, and then all those trades of the day are eligible for trade of the week, which are voted on by the team over the weekend and announced on Monday. Yes, Megan, they do. Men get breast cancer, but it's at a far, 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 far lower rate. All right. Just reminded me of Fight Club. All right. If you are watching on YouTube and haven't been in the room, you can use the promo code premarket24. Go to bearabletraders.com. Scroll down about halfway down the page. You'll see that test drive button. Click that. That'll get you 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. Will not bill you again. It cancels itself. It does not keep going. And you use that promo code premarket24. It'll get you a discount off the intro. And then also, if you're looking to become an annual, an elite member, and with access to all of the awesome content that we have, all those webinars I was describing, use the promo code FALL40.
All right, thank you very much, Norm. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's see what we have here on our list this morning. But before we do that, guys, please make sure you hit that thumbs up if you haven't had a chance to do so over on YouTube. We're sitting about 135. We'd love to get to 300. I know that's a stretch, but that is the number that we love there. So if we can get those likes up, really appreciate it. Helps us out a ton. With that said, let's look at MGM this morning. Again, this daily looks very good, guys. Pre-market action, I hope we had a little bit better to go on. We'll set some levels. We'll be ready for it, but I do like what I'm seeing here as far as the daily for a possible breakout. And I think we mentioned there's some upgrade information on there as well. So let's see if we can get that going. Here's any at the moment. Again, great pre-market action. Barely any shares for sure. It is showing the S right now, but we looked. It's not a whole lot there. It is definitely in play, guys. Yeah, we'll keep it on here for now. OCGN is active, guys. 7.4. We'll do levels for it. I'm not a huge fan of this one, but I cannot deny it is definitely in play this morning. Nice gap up of this was up at 950-ish now. We got a drop here. We're only up 8.7. So again, not sure what's going on there, but definitely in play. Facebook, I do like what's happening there on the daily. That is good. Apple, I'm gonna keep pre-market action getting even better. Looks like it might want to try to go back to hit some of these highs from the last 2 trading days. So that's good. Plug, Plug's dailies interesting. How many I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6. We'll do levels for all of these. We have time. It's only 9:01, and then we can always get some out of the way if we need to. Here we go, MGM. So, for example, here's a great John Stevens saying that OCGN always moves well from his experience, and that could be the case, man. You have stocks where other traders can trade very well, and then you have stocks you just no matter how hard you try, you just can't read the price action, right? So we have the OCGN for me is one of those stocks where it's difficult to read the price action with the way I trade, I guess. MGM here. Hold on a second, MGM. Let's do some levels here. High of the pre-market 45.62 almost. So high of the pre-market there. Above that, we do have a couple of levels, 45.88 of this daily here, and a little bit higher around 46.07. So a couple of spots there for NGM. I think that's good enough for now. And then towards the bottom, guys, you have the highs and lows, and you have this great area of consolidation. Every time we pop up above, what is this, 45.20, actually where the price is right now, we managed to drop right below it very quickly. So we don't stay above this pretty this line for too long there. If we're able to squeeze now and get through some of these, maybe we can get a nice run going. But for the most part, that has been an area where MGM has struggled to get above. Towards the bottom, we have the low of the pre-market down at 44.65. Then we have the bottom of this consolidation, right? Where we're getting the ping pong action between 45.27 and what seems to be 44.42, right? The bottom of that. If we were to lose that, we have 43.97 down here. Great area of support. We got a little bit of resistance, but more support than anything. And then towards the bottom here, we got a couple of days touching this area, 43.24. If you draw a nice line there, you can see the areas of great resistance right over here in a span of what is almost a month there. And then you do have an area of support happening here as well in end of September. So pretty good level there, 43.24. I think you're all set. We just need a better pre-market action. Hopefully, we just need volume to come in at the market open. I would love this. I'd rather see this for a long play. I don't want it coming back down into all this congestion area down here. Right? I want it to kind of squeeze up and get going above these levels. I think there you would get a better continuation type play. Towards the bottom, it's just a lot going on here. It's very congested. I want to head towards the top if we can. MGM. Here's any big day yesterday. This morning, low of the high of the pre-market sitting at 810. The low of the pre-market sitting down at 776. So you got that range there. Above the 810 high of the pre-market, you have the highs from yesterday and the previous day close. So this thing has ran up in the past. So you can see 1195. We could throw a level there. We could also do the close of this day, 936. Do we have anything in between here? I don't think we do, not at least in recent times. So not much to go between 850, our previous day, 828, our previous day close, and 936. You don't have a whole lot going on there. There's just nothing on the daily you can mark as far as levels in case this thing does want to run. What you can do is you can hop into this day and see where you have areas of consolidation in the daily and do levels off of that. But for the most part, this is all you have on the daily right now. Towards the bottom, there is a level before we get to our lows. The highs and lows of the last two trading days. You do have a level right on here, guys. 742, might be 750, but you do see an area of a little bit of resistance across the board here on this stock. Has a tough time getting above. Actually, a few times it has. You can see it has also slammed down besides yesterday. Yesterday managed to close above that. So let's see if today there is any kind of strength. Right now we're down 4.6. The volume is there. Oh man, I might be doing something right now. Let's see. But let's see if this thing can get a continuation going. OCGN, here it is. I know a lot of you guys like this one right now. Great volume, guys. 7.6 million. Low of the pre-market 816. High of the pre-market 944. Towards the top, we do have this spike right over here at 874. So we're definitely going to mark that down. As you scroll down to the left here, see if we find other levels. We have another spike over here around seems to be $9 exactly. So slamming level there. That's good. Yeah, we're looking pretty good there as far as levels, guys. Let's see outside of that range of the highs and lows of the last two trading days. Below 816, you have your highs and lows from the last two trading days and the previous day close. Above 944, you do have you have a horrible daily here, by the way. Doesn't look great. We know this is a level here, 11, right? That's one. Then here, I want to say 1017. Again, horrible daily, guys. So it's going to be hard to find great levels, but 1017 seems to be a decent one. You have some support happening there, a little bit of resistance, a couple of days opening and closing right around that area. But for the most part, wish we had better levels than that one for this one. But that's OCGN, guys. Amazing volume. No shares for sure with IB. They just disappeared, right? We had the S earlier right on here. They just disappeared, so no shares for sure on that one. Here's Facebook, guys. I love the daily action on this one. The daily really has a lot of movement on it. 321.40 is the low of the pre-market, getting a little bit of a bounce there. Let's put that again. 321.45. Towards the top, guys, highs and lows, last two trading days, previous day close of this consolidation. Man, Facebook has not been doing well the last couple of weeks, getting slammed here. Below this low of the pre-market that we have set up, we do have one right on here, guys. 315, great area of resistance. Look at the change in direction. Love that. Some more support happening here. 309, you can see some support there. You can see also more resistance here. A little bit of support happening at that 309. And if we were to really take a dive, again, I don't think this is going to happen. But just in case somebody screws up over there at Facebook, 303 here is a beautiful area of support and resistance on Facebook. So 303 is a good level there to have on deck. All right, so that's Facebook. Here's Apple, guys. 1 million shares traded already. So this thing already putting in a beautiful pre-market action. It did the same thing yesterday. I think it was 1.7 by the time we finished up the show. This is looking to head towards that direction as well. And just look how beautiful this pre-market is and how beautiful the range is, right? The range was, we're down at 142, guys. We're up, we're in the green now at 143.30. And look how great this thing has been trading as more volume starts to come into the picture here. So that is looking very good. This is what you want to see in a pre-market activity. 143.45 or 143.32 is the high of the pre-market there. So we'll put that level there. As we move towards the bottom here, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days are doing a pretty good job. You're basically surrounded by that right now, right? And this little stretch of on the daily, you're surrounded by the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. I don't think you really need to add any more levels within this area, within this range. You're set there. If we were to break out of that, which is going to take, it's going to take some strength to do that, or some real good weakness to break out of that range, unless they have some kind of news or the market decides to trend heavily in one direction. 140. 139.38, great area support, right? We were able to hold that here. Towards the top, guys, we do have an area around 146.23. I think that's a stretch for today. To get out of this range is definitely going to take some work. I don't know if Apple can do that today, but either way, looking very good. Within this range, we have some really good trading. I'll show you guys yesterday if you missed it. We had a nice, beautiful pop early on. We kind of gave it all back before the day closed out, but we had some good opportunities towards the top side and then towards the bottom side, towards the downside as well. So that is Apple there. Here's Plug. You know what? I love the daily on Plug, but besides that, I don't see anything else that it's got going on for it. So I'm going to bring Plug down to a possible. I'm going to remove it from my main list. They're up 1.6, but I think they're more of a possible this morning. Here's some of our possibles. Fuel cell, yeah, we'll keep it right on there. SoFi, I'm not seeing anything great besides yesterday's day had a good one. Tesla could be interesting if we can get a squeeze going, but more of a possible for right now. And GoTo is not really going anywhere. So again, still not doing anything good. Do not like the price action right now. We traded. Where's this 1 million shares trades? I mean, I don't see the shares of 1 million being traded here. So maybe a couple of block trades being recorded there. This is no good. I don't like what's happening here. Let's get rid of that. And then NTRB is the low flow of the day, guys. Looking really, really good this morning. Probably one of the worst dailies we've seen in a while, right? Look at this daily here. I mean, it's just madness. But today, pre-market action, they're looking pretty good. They have a catalyst in reference to some kind of COVID patch or whatever the case may be. But looking pretty good. 7 million right now. As far as levels, we do have our high of our pre-market over 11.11. So we'll do a level there towards the bottom. We got some areas of here like 10.50. You can also do 9.29. I'm not going to pick off anything from this daily. It's just not worth it at all. I mean, I don't think, just don't pay attention to this daily. Just trade the intraday here. I don't think nothing is worth watching on this daily as far as levels. Just too brutal. All right, so that is what we have, guys. Let's take a look at our moderators lineup. Let's bring that in and see what we got going on there. So I'm going to go ahead and resize this, get this out of the way, and then we'll bring it in, see what our moderators are looking at on a day like today before we get into some serious earnings opportunities later this week. All right, let's bring this over. And here it is. We have, starting with Thor. Thor's looking at Facebook, Apple, Baba, SPY. Baba was great yesterday. We'll take a look at that. Secondary list, AMD, MGM, and BA. No IPOs for today, just one SPAC. So we'll see what's going on there. Eamon, oh, hold on, let's go back up. Mike, He's looking at Baba and MGM. Jared's looking at Tesla, AMD, Facebook. Secondary list GWH, AMC, GameStop, and OCGN on his list there. Aim is looking at potential longs, CCL, Uber, maybe West Fargo, WFC, potential shorts, MGM, Mara, and Baba this morning. Jared is adding Neil to his list. Tiffany's looking at Apple, Tesla, Facebook. Dima is looking at Apple, SoFi, MU. And Simon has a couple on here: CCL, Bank of America, DKNG, and Mara with a couple of levels there. And Thor also adding Tesla to his list. And Peter, Apple, AMD, MGM, CVAC, and Tesla for his list this morning. So that's the moderators lineup today, guys, as we prepare and get going for the market open. So, guys, thank you so much over on YouTube for joining us this morning. Again, I think we have it's definitely not a great list. I think are some good opportunities, but just like we did yesterday, we're very patient in the room, just kind of waiting for setups. We know that right now, when there's not much going on, kind of waiting for earning season to begin here to give us some good opportunities. You got to be very patient. But we had some good ones yesterday. I want to look at Baba. Baba was great towards the downside yesterday. Possible continuation today. Let's see, a couple of the moderators have this one on their list. I'm going to add it as a possible because I really rather watch Baba than Plug, to be honest. Plug can be a hit or miss. They don't really got a lot going on right now. But Bob is on here. They traded very well yesterday. We'll see where this goes today. We have Apple on our main list, which has an amazing pre-market activity, guys, right now. Looking very, very good. We have Facebook is okay. OCGN, very active. No shares for short now. So that, that kind of a little handicap there. OCGN, we'll throw this one down. We'll throw this one as a possible for right now. I'm going to remove it from our main list. Any we have here, you know what? Any's not doing nothing. I mean, this thing is pushing volume around, but that's really it, guys. I mean, I don't see anything good. Even the daily's a little funky, right? We'll have to see. MGM, nothing happening right now besides the daily. So again, we don't have a whole lot going on right now. We're going to be very, very patient. And NTRB continues to try to get above this $11 mark here, 11.11. So guys, trade safe over on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll see you again tomorrow at 8 a.m. with Engineering the Markets. Do not forget, guys, tonight we do have our success webinar at 8 p.m. with Kyle, and he's going to be going over part 2 of his advanced risk management hockey. So if you missed part one is in our education center already, so you can go look at that before tonight's live success webinar, so you can be up to date. So again, it's an amazing hockey. It has helped a lot of traders be able to manage their risk if they're trading with Dash Trader Pro. So take care, guys, over on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.